This is Orlando. This is where we believe in magic and fantasies and wishing upon stars and the power of the imagination. This is where we dream, where we think smarter and play harder. So if you think you know all there is to know about Orlando, you're in for a big surprise. Because until you join our community and see all the reasons we're amazing, you don't know the half of it.
All right, well, welcome to this meeting in the Orange County School Board. If y'all are sort of out there looking at us cryptically going, what are they waiting for? We never start a meeting on time, so this is a first for us. I've been watching the clock waiting for it to tick over to 5:30 because you don't want to start too early, but you are witnessing probably a first in my 5 years on the school board. That's actually beginning a meeting on time. So thank you for coming down this evening. We have a very special presentation tonight by the West Orange Junior ROTC program, the Junior Air Force ROTC program. Our meeting tonight is, of course, on the eve of Veterans Day tomorrow. So we have invited our Air Force JROTC Honor Guard to come down and present the colors, and then I will lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. And as you have your moment of silence or your prayer, please keep in mind our men and women in the service who continue to serve in harm's way overseas, as well as all of our veterans who have given their lives and themselves to our country so we can enjoy the great freedoms we enjoy in our country. And with that, let me have our Honor Guard present the colors. Gentlemen, please stand. Now please join me in a moment of silence. Amen. You may be seated. Tonight, we have the opportunity to recognize some of our brightest and most improved STEM students in Orange County Public Schools, as well as 4 amazing Orange County teachers in the field of STEM education, which of course is for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education. And they are our Orange County Public Schools STEM Alliance Award winners. This program recognizes teachers for their work in the classroom and students for their performance and proficiency in higher level science and math curriculum. The goal is to catch and recognize these students' successes early, then continue to monitor their progress to make sure these students are getting the rigor in science and math all the way through to graduation. Eligibility begins in the 7th grade and goes all the way through the 12th grade. The students during this time must maintain good grades in math, science, and technology courses. They must also participate in STEM clubs and competitions. Here to honor the students, we welcome back Jeff Pridmore to present this year's awards. Mr. Pridmore serves as the board chair for the STEM Alliance of Central Florida, and he is also the vice president and deputy of technical operations and applied research for Lockheed Martin Missile and Fire Control. Welcome back, Mr. Pridmore. If you would join us at the podium, we would love to hear a few words from you, and thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to be here again. STEM Alliance, as you mentioned, is dedicated, is a group of, it's truly an alliance. It's a partnership between education and industry to try and put programs in the schools, fund programs to help improve STEM education, bring professionals into the classroom to help inspire students to consider going into endeavors in the science and technology fields. And the reason I'm here today, which you've explained very well, which is to recognize achievement in STEM technologies. So to the teachers, thank you for what you do every day. To me, you're the unheralded heroes of our community. And several of you are being selected. You all do such a great job, but we really appreciate the work that you're doing in the fields of STEM. And to the students, you should be really proud of these awards today. You were selected for a reason by your schools for your academic achievement and the work in science fairs and in competitions and those kinds of things. So the competition was stiff. You've done very well. You should be very proud of what you've achieved, and we're happy to be here to recognize that. And please continue it. The world needs more scientists, engineers, and mathematicians, so keep up the good work. So Lisa and I are going to now hand out some awards. Thank you very much.
Hey, we're going to start with our teachers, and if you would come up and be greeted by Mr. Pridmore and then make your way along the board table there and over to Sherry at the far left-hand side. Our first...
And Lisa, you know what I think I'm going to do? Our board members, we have a new boardroom, and we
Okay.
struggle. It's like leaning down
Okay.
from Mount Rushmore to try to shake hands from up here, so we're all going to walk down around the front.
Perfect, okay.
And shake hands as they come across the front, if that works for
Perfect.
you and
We'll
Mr.
give you a minute
Pridmore.
to do that. Thank you. We're going to start with our 2015 STEM Alliance Elementary Science Teacher of the Year, Megan Baptiste from Domerick Elementary School. Our 2015 STEM Alliance Secondary Science Teacher of the Year is Kathy Rigling from Piedmont Lakes Middle School. Our STEM Alliance Elementary Math Teacher of the Year, Jody Crombie. Jody comes to us from Windy Ridge K-8. Our Secondary Math Teacher of the Year, also from Windy Ridge K-8, is Sarah Spolsky. Now, as I call the school names, these are the schools that these teachers and students were at when they were awarded this award. We're going to move on now to our most improved science students. Warren Boshin, Southwest Middle School. From Lake Nona Middle School, Jace Sonny. From Piedmont Lakes Middle School, Andrew Owens. Raina Sofny from Lake Nona Middle School. Our STEM Alliance Most Outstanding Science students, Devin Lynn from Southwest Middle. Diego Robles from Lake Nona Middle School. Cade Rylands from Southwest Middle. From Dr. Phillips High School, Graham Jordan. Also from Dr. Phillips High School, Philip Corey. Michael Cometer from Colonial High School. These are our most improved math students for our 2015 STEM Alliance Awards. Moynique Day from Hunters Creek Middle School. Daniel Zhang from Southwest Middle. Adam Siegel from Lake Nona Middle School. Moving on to our most outstanding math students. From Lake Nona Middle School, Jordan Fu. Julie Zhu from Southwest Middle. From Windy Ridge, we have Blake Bradford. Satira Gushvar from Lake Nona Middle School. Andres Maldonado Martin from University High School. Charlene Burgos from Cypress Creek High School. And this next student is not only a STEM Alliance Most Outstanding Math student, but was also our last year's Sunshine State Scholar, Elise Morton from Timber Creek High School. If you don't mind me taking a moment to make sure we didn't miss anyone with check-in, Aaron Fox from Blankner K-8, Hannah Matthew, also from Cypress Creek High School, and Akutha Kumar from Windy Ridge Middle School. Have also been recognized for their efforts. Thank you.
You know, I think what I love about these presentations more than anything else is seeing these bright, young, ambitious, hardworking students, because none of them receive these awards without putting in countless hours of work, staying up very, very late at night studying. You all should be very, very proud. And I think I would be remiss if I didn't also congratulate their parents, because I think each and every one of these students would agree that having a encouraging home environment and a home environment in which academics comes first and foremost is what has led to much of their success. So I'd like to go off my script a little bit, and can I have all the parents of these proud award winners please stand, and let us give the parents a round of applause. Y'all should be very, very proud of your children, as we are. Thank you very much for coming down tonight, too. We also are celebrating tonight another group that has become a frequent flyer before us, because they seem to be down here every year, and that is the Apopka High School Blue Darters bowling team, which has done it yet again. I'm probably going to get sued for trademark infringement for saying this, but they three-peated again. The 2015 Apopka Blue Darter boys varsity bowling team is here to celebrate another winning season. They are undefeated for the third consecutive year. They won the Metro Championship for the third consecutive season, and they have won the Class 8A, the largest school classification, district championship twice out of the last 3 years, and they are the Florida High School Athletic Association state champions again. Ladies and gentlemen, your Apopka High School Blue Darters varsity bowling team. Boys, please stand. Let me recognize you. And if y'all could sit down, I'm going to give you a double dose of applause. I'm going to call your names by name again and ask you to each individually stand up. First of all, we are joined tonight by our captain and our FHSAA state individual champion, Petey Burgos. Petey, stand up. Petey, were you state champion last year as well? Wow, that's incredible. Were you three-peating a state champ as well? Wow, that's incredible.
Is he a senior?
That's awesome. Are you a senior, Petey? The board wants to know, are you a senior? You're a junior? Ah, no pressure. You know, I've got to ask because I grew up bowling. My first job was actually in a bowling alley where I would reset pins and clean up after patrons. How many 300 games have you bowled in your life? Wow. You know what? I've never even sniffed 250, and he's bowled 69 or 70. That is incredible, Petey. Congratulations. We're also joined by, and I hope I pronounced your name right, Kafer Copy. Kafer? Did I come in close? Keeper. And how do you say your last name, Keeper? Cappy. Copy, I'm sorry. I'd mutilate my own name, Keeper, I'm sorry. Keeper Copy. Congratulations, Keeper. Very proud of you. And Nick Moyer. Nick, stand up. Let us recognize you. Nick, what's your average? Wow.
Wonderful.
Can you believe that? That's his average. It's not his high game like the rest of us.
Yes.
I just try to bowl my age at my age. So, congratulations. Alex Highfield. Yeah, Alex. How many years have you been on the team, Alex? Oh, congratulations. And you're a state champion your first year. Life's not always that good, Alex. But enjoy it while you can. That's awesome. Congratulations, Alex. Gage Stelling. Where's Gage? All right, Gage. What was your high game this year, Gage? 300.
Wow.
You guys just say it so casually. 300. Did you really? Wow, that's incredible. Congratulations, Gage. Keith Horton. Stand up, Keith. Hey, Keith. How many years on the team, Keith? Second year. I'm running out of questions because I'm worried if I asked if you've ever bowled a 300, you'll say no, and I'll have stuck my foot in my mouth. But you guys are incredible. What's your average? How much? 215. That's incredible. Congratulations. Be very proud. And I saved this last one for last because this individual has by far the coolest name in all of athletics in Orange County, Dakota Potts. Where's Dakota Potts? Dakota, I don't know where your parents are out there, but they gave you a really cool name. So, so congratulations, Dakota. We're very, very proud of you. We're also joined by their coaches, and if you could stand as I say your name and remain standing. Todd Hauser. Not okay. Well, we'll give him our applause when we give Doug Campbell applause. Doug Campbell. And Robert Endicott. Is Robert here? Okay. You drew the short straw, huh? Well, congratulations, Doug. This is quite an accomplishment, and no team achieves these accomplishments without great coaching. So we're so very, very proud of the Blue Darter bowling team. Congratulations, guys. And if I know Miss Moore, there is no prouder a school board member of her community than Christine Moore. She'll want to say a few words. Miss Moore.
I was so proud on Thursday night. I was following it on Facebook, and I got to go last year. Boy, that was awesome. If you've never been to a bowling match, oh, it's crazier than a football game. Screaming and hollering and loud, and oh, it was exciting. And so, unfortunately, I couldn't go this year, but I was following. I think it was Kiefer's dad was posting about every 10 minutes, and I called you. I was following it because I wanted to see how they did, and they won. And so I don't know if I called or I texted Dr. I think I called you. Did I text you? No, I had to text Dr. Jenkins, and I said, Dr. Jenkins, now I know this team's won a lot of times, but they got to go see the governor, and they got to go down to the county commission, and then the mayor of Apopka has them. Couldn't we please be first? And so we just wanted to be sure that we got to congratulate you first this year, because what you have done is just so outstanding. And that bowling, I keep thinking that Wekiva bowling alley there needs to put out this giant, maybe they have one inside, just this sign that says the home of the wonderful Apopka bowlers. Maybe I'll have to buy them one or something. Yeah, a little banner. But anyway, and then last year, I was just so excited too, and I wished I had a video of all of you, but I had to talk to our PR person today. I said, Sherry, there's this wonderful, wonderful video of one of the bowlers bowling on the Today Show, and Sherry found the video for us all to see, and it was because he's going to teach us how to throw all those strikes.
Al, Natalie, and Cameron, and we're out here holding bowling balls for a very special reason, a very special man. Because Vinny Virgos is a member of the Apopka, Florida high school bowling team. He has bowled 58 perfect games in practice, matches, and tournaments. He's here to try to teach us a thing or two about bowling. Vinny Virgos, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Perfect games of 300 again. What do you attribute this amazing skill to?
Well, in fact, I never leave the bowling alley. Constant work, just going through my routine each and every day. Just, never quitting.
Wow.
Just do the same process.
You only started playing 6 years ago, right? You
Yes,
just
ma'am.
picked it up and...
I picked it up. I was diagnosed with hydrocephalus when I was a kid, which is a problem I had with the fluids draining in my head.
Oh.
So I had to have a plate put in my head to drain the fluids, and right then and there I couldn't play any contact sports.
Okay.
You found a passion.
How about giving us a
Let's
show? See if you can
Come on, Beanie.
Let's see if I can do it.
Here.
Oh, okay.
See that? That's it.
Look at that ball. That is a nice little ball.
What do you aim for, Beanie?
I go for the arrows.
Go for the arrows. Easy. Center pin, right? Go, Beanie.
I am so glad you dug that out. Now we know to call him King from now on. And what I love about that is he had 58 perfect games at that time, and tonight he's at 69 or 70, so there are another 10 or 11 this year. And talk about coming through under pressure. National TV, one ball, one throw, and he throws a strike. Petey, that's incredible. All right, STEM students, no pressure. We expect you all to get perfect scores on your ACT and SATs. And we expect you to do it on the Today Show, no less, while being watched. Miss Flynn.
Congratulations to all of our students out there. How exciting, whether it's STEM, whether it's bowling, what a fun evening. Mr. Chair, I was going to ask, they had a picture of the champion team just on the screen just for a little bit. Could they put that back up? Because I think that way, yeah, that was the day of. Yeah. Hey, I have to say, I went to a, what do they call it, tournament? A few years ago, and it is really exciting. And whatever you do, don't take a picture that has a flash. Because I didn't realize my camera was going to flash because I wanted to put it like in my newsletter. And I took a picture and it flashed, and you would have seen everybody's heads. And I'm like, I'm sorry. So don't do that if you go. Don't do that. Keep your phone away. I was like, the eyes that looked at me. But it is very exciting. What a fun evening. Thank you so much. Thank you. I just appreciate your dedication. Just everything for all the students and the parents. This is a great evening. Thank you.
Yep.
Dr. Jenkins.
Thank you, Chairman. I wouldn't miss an opportunity to add my congratulations to these fine young people. We're extremely proud of our championship bowling team and all of our STEM students as well. Thank you especially to the teachers and the administrators who help work with our young people. A coaches don't get a whole lot of money for the work, for the hours that they have to put in. And so I know they invest not only in the skills, but also in the character of our young people. So a special thanks to our coaches, and convey the same to those two that are absent as well. To the principals, teachers, thank you for all that you do every day for all of our children. Parents, congratulations as well.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. Well, again, Blue Darters, congratulations to all of our STEM award winners. Sure, sure. Can we also have the parents of the bowlers stand up? Because behind every great bowler is a great parent. All right, congratulations again, and Coach Campbell, congratulations, and thank you for all you do for our students. So with that, we are going to pause. Mr. Pridmore, thank you for having come down tonight. Where did Mr. Pridmore, did he have to leave already? We're going to pause for a moment because it is a school night, and hopefully you all have studies. So congratulations, and no pressure, but we look forward to seeing you back here next year, both our STEM students and our bowling champions.
I go to Princeton University, majoring in psychology.
I go to Harvard, and I'm majoring in economics.
I'm going to Duke, and I'm majoring in psychology and global health.
I'm going to Johns Hopkins, and I'm majoring in chemistry.
Our advantage, great teachers and programs at Orange County Public Schools. See what's possible for you.
There are magnet programs, advanced placement and honors classes, and guidance counselors who help us choose the right courses.
You can even earn college credit while in high school.
OCPS has programs for every type of learner.
Orange County Public Schools, leading students to success.
All right, board members, let me go ahead and bring our meeting back to order at this time. We do have a strategic plan update this evening, and it is on psychological services, and three ladies very well known to us. So let me turn it over to Dr. Jenkins for the strategic plan update. Dr. Jenkins.
As noted on your agenda, we are headed into a special week to recognize school psychologists. We have very capable staff here tonight led by Kim Steinke. I will let her make the introductions.
Good evening. Doing a presentation tonight will be our Director of Psychological and Social Services, Jumana Mukadam.
Good evening, Chairman Sublette, board members, Dr. Jenkins. I'm going to go ahead and start with my update. Much of the work of our Orange County school psychologists is guided by the Teaching and Learning Division's strategic plan priority to provide empowering environments. Empowering environments are ones where students are engaged, connected, and feel safe. Effective academic instruction is necessary, but not sufficient. When students are experiencing challenges that inhibit learning and engagement, OCPS school psychologists collaborate with other student service professions to include school social workers, school counselors, nurses, and mental health counselors to provide coordinated services that improve student outcomes and build the capacity of schools to address student academic, social, emotional, behavioral, and physical health needs. School psychologists focus on reducing barriers to learning while partnering with licensed mental health counselors through the evaluation process and other methods of district-wide support. In support of our district's focus on looking at early warning signs, school psychologists are guided by the following questions. What students are in need of supports to be successful? What are the root causes for the early warning signs indicators? How effective are interventions for groups or individual students? Answering these questions allows team members to identify which level of support these students need through MTSS. Tier 1, the universal, Tier 2, the supplemental, or Tier 3, the intensive. Teams of professionals that include school psychologists work together to review and address mental health concerns through a tiered system of supports. Tier 1 is built to provide prevention and education for all students through mental health screening and development and implementation of school-wide positive behavior support plans, which also include classroom management strategies. Tier 2 is built to provide early intervention for students with identified risk factors through skill-building groups, consultation regarding behavior plans, and targeting interventions for students with specific concerns, such as grief and loss, trauma-induced issues, or many others. Tier 3 is built to provide an intense intervention for students with identified mental health and/or behavioral needs of students through a variety of actions, including screenings, consultations, MTSS interventions, counseling services, crisis response, and threat assessments. I'm going to go back to the Tier 3. And it is built to provide an intense intervention for students with identified mental health and/or behavioral problems through crisis individual, group and family counseling, as well as collaboration with community and district mental health providers. In direct partnership with our licensed mental health counselors, school psychologists support the mental health needs of students through a variety of actions, including screenings, consultations, MTSS interventions, counseling services, crisis response, and threat assessments. School psychologists are intentional in their actions to support the strategic plan goal of decreasing the number of students with 2 or more early warning signs by the year 2020. In their work with general education students, school psychologists provided MTSS interventions for over 3,400 students last school year. They also worked to complete 99.9% of all initial evaluations within the required 60-day timeline, which goes towards Indicator 11 results for the ESE State Performance Plan and LEA profile. Overall, school psychologists completed a total of 6,449 student evaluations, including initial, gifted, and re-evaluations. On a district-wide level, 38 school psychologists provided support for dropout prevention through participation in expectation graduation. Purposefully organized into 5 crisis intervention teams by learning community, along with the social workers, the school psychologists have served over 1,200 students and 78 staff as direct crisis response support to help the students cope so that they can continue to be successful in school while they work through their crisis. The board is familiar with our second grade universal gifted screening activities. As a result of these activities, 285 students are newly placed in the gifted program, including 131 through Plan B eligibility. Universal gifted screening allows us to identify students of poverty or second language learners who were not otherwise referred. But universal gifted screening is much broader than that. There are many students who may not have typically been referred for gifted evaluation. Plan B eligibilities through universal gifted screening make sure that all students have equal opportunity to receive services if they qualify, starting with the second grade. Thank you. It's open for your comments and questions.
Thank you, Ms. McNaughton. Appreciate that very much. Ms. Stanky, thank you very much. Did you want to say a few words as well? Okay. Board members, questions, comments? Okay, Ms. Coburn.
Thank you for your presentation. I have a question about social services, and it actually came up today. A group of parents who help out in food pantry and clothing closets at one of the high schools are being referred more and more families who are struggling with food services, struggling with housing, things like that. And guidance counselors are really becoming overburdened. They're obviously having some psychological issues because of those kinds of trauma and crisis that the family's going through. And everyone is asking, how do we serve those families? What they'd like to find is some kind of consolidated directory or list of services that are out there in the community that they could refer the students or the families to. Does something like that exist? How can we compile that? And how can we get that out to our schools?
We do have some brochures and some resources like that that exist in compilation. It's available through the guidance counselors, through our school social workers, through our school psychologists. But we can make a concentrated effort to make sure that all schools have that information to share.
Can you get me some copies of those as well so I can refer those out to my schools? That'd be very helpful. Thank you.
Vice Chair Gordon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to say thank you to Dr. Jenkins and to the school board and under your leadership, Mr. Chair, for all the psychologists. I know you're going to have them stand or do something so we'll know where they are, but we know where they normally sit. But not only are the active psychologists working with children within our school system, but Dr. Jenkins, the former psychologists, working with children within our communities, within our citizen boards, within our churches, and they're not being paid a dime. It might be nice also to see if there's some way that we can get the assistance of those former psychologists that always rally for this board to see how they could come and be a part. All of us at this board table, we know, and Ms. Kim Stanky, we just thank you so much for your leadership in this. You're remarkable. I'm telling you, and your team is awesome. You're, like the chairman said, you're always here. But I would like to see until we can get and go back, Mr. Chair, when you were on the state legislature, when we lobbied you, we were lobbying for a counselor in every school based on enrollment, a psychologist in every school based on enrollment, a social worker based on enrollment within a school, and then any other psychological services as it relates. But the one that I like that this board did do, and we did not know that Dr. Jenkins would go ahead and do it as quickly, but to give us licensed mental health counselors in the wake of everything that is happening with our children today. But I would like to see if we can survey. I met a couple of mental health counselors that had moved here and just happened to just run into them. But of some kind of way, if Mr. Dylan Thomas' office, we could try to figure out where they are and find out what kind of help, because every time there's a crisis, basically the psychologists are the first ones there at that school along with the social worker, but they're there. And I know that firsthand. If there's any kind of major incident, any kind of major death on that campus or whatever may happen, they are there comforting the faculty, the staff, the parents, and the students, and the community. So I would like to see if there's some kind of way that we could find out from the former psychologists how we could maybe utilize them, because some of them are not, I think they're tired and and may not want to come back, but I think they would serve in some way. But I do really appreciate, but I would like to see this board work toward getting that psychologist. They have always been overworked. They are still overworked, and I'm speaking as a former counselor and staffing specialist. They have always been overworked and underpaid. And they are very professional, and I'm glad that we place them where we do because of their ability to be able to work with the faculty and draw them together. But I would like to see this board, Mr. Chairman, put this as one of the main agendas for the psychological services because of what's happening in America today and in the world. And there's so many things happening that did not happen long ago. As we look at those agencies and how we could work even closer, because Ms. Colbert is talking about some of the agencies that she may need to know about. And we do know that the psychologists, they have a list. We know that the social workers, they have a list. We know guidance counselors have a list. And we do know that the licensed mental health counselors, they have a list. But maybe some kind of way we can take that list together, because serving on the Community Action Board with Orange County government, I know we have a list, and this psychological department has worked very well along with our GED, helping families to become sustainable. And that's a major thing here in Orange County. So I would like for us to maybe put that as a topic of discussion to see with so many things happening. And I get so many calls at night for parents wanting us to get their children tested or to find out what's happening, to understand a little bit more about what is going on. So I know that field is not going to go away, but if we can put this as a priority, and I see that you've already done that by having Ms. Stanky come in today and bring the psychologist in today to address the board. But Dr. Jenkins, I really thank you for trying to sustain and maintain the psychologists, social workers, counselors, and licensed mental health counselors in our psychological service department. So thank you so very much for that, Mr. Chairman and board members.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon. It's an excellent suggestion, and perhaps it's something we should add to our legislative platform, because I think we're all too well aware how woefully underfunded, as far as a ratio goes, the state of Florida is when it comes to school psychologists. And it is a line item of our funding. We have very little control over the amount of funding that we get for our school psychologists, and our state's ratios are very low compared to much of the other rest of the country. Ms. Cadle.
Well, and I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to the Winter Park Health Foundation, who has been providing chill counselors, which are mental health counselors, for I think 13 or 14, maybe 15 years now, to the feeder schools to Winter Park High School. And I was a community volunteer when the program first started, and there was a lot of talk in the neighborhood. We don't really need mental health counseling in our schools. And it has been amazing and shocking to see every year that more and more of our children are requiring assistance. And one of the things that we were just talking about, that Ms. Colbert was just talking about, you all know that I work with Leadership Winter Park, and in December they always do something on health and human services. And this year they're doing an activity that's called a walk in their shoes. And so these different groups are going to be given a problem that our families are facing, and they're going to be given the map for the Lynx bus system, and they're going to be given the 211 call center number from United Way. And they are going to have to get themselves to the agency to get help on public transportation and get themselves back to the Winter Park Farmers Market, and they have 2 hours to do it. So it's stepping outside of the box for some of the people who like to control the activity, but it's really exciting to see that there are going to be 50 community leaders that are going to have to walk in the shoes that many of our families walk in every day. So to everyone who helps, and to the Winter Park Health Foundation, who is always there for us, thank you.
Great initiative. Ms. Gould.
I know today is also as much of a strategic plan update as it is about recognizing the great work of the school psychologists we have here. I don't think our community stops to think often enough about what our children are facing, whether it's poverty, neglect, discord at home, an illness, the impacts of the beauty of social media and the effects of social media. It goes on, and then we layer on some of the pressures that we have now with testing and school struggles and in West Orange coziness. And you are part of the fabric that really hold our school communities together. And I cannot thank you enough, because I have a lot of personal knowledge on what you all do. But even the things I don't know that you do every day, I know when you have touched and helped to pull a situation that could have gone to crisis out of that and become a non-issue. And that is a life choice and a calling, and you're deeply appreciated.
We do have, thank you, Ms. Stanky. We do have one speaker tonight, and then I'm going to go to our resolution and our recognition for our school psychologist, Mr. Chris Remmett, who's known to us. Welcome, Mr. Remmett. And if you could start, Mr. Remmett, with your name and your address for the record, and then during the regular meeting, you have 3 minutes to address the board.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Chris Remmett, 771 Sequoia Trail of Maitland. That was a great presentation. I think we should definitely thank all those school psychologists, because they are easily some of the most overworked and understaffed people in this county. 2 years ago, the board received the final report of the Evergreen Solutions Report, assessing ESE programs at OCPS, and made 58 recommended fixes. Many of them have been ignored. So I'd like to quote on psychological services from the report. Furthermore, a document provided by the district reports that all elementary schools are provided funding for a school counselor. However, half of them do not use the funds to hire this counselor. So it's a strategic report, so it'd be interesting to know if we've fixed that 2 years after the report. Second one, guidance counselors at the elementary level are expected to and do provide some level of mental health services to their students. However, their primary role identified to Evergreen was academic. So it seems like principals get counselor funding, spend it somewhere else, and just lay it on the guidance counselors. Because I don't know if this has been changed. It's been 2 years since the report. So there were 3 specific recommendations from the report in regards to psychological services. None of them were in the strategic report from what I could hear. The first was use the ratios of psychologists and social workers recommended by the NCLB as a goal to move towards over the next 5 years. So I haven't heard any update on that. The NCLB recommends 1 psychologist per 800 students. OCPS employs, according to the report, 87 psychologists for 183,000 students. 18 of these psychologists do not service schools solely. So this equates to 1 psychologist for 2,100 students. That means OCPS is understaffed by almost 300%, or 141 psychologists under best practices. The NCLB recommendations on school social workers recommends 1 social worker for each 400 students. And this is all in the report from 2 years ago. OCPS has 1 social worker for every 7,323 students. That's 1,800% over the best practices, and represents an understaffing of 432 social workers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Remmett. If you could remain there for a moment, because I want to give you a chance to respond. I want to be gentlemanly about this as I can, and I mean that sincerely. So I'm going to say something, I'm going to give you the last word on it. If you'd like, you can take 60 seconds to respond. I don't want the audience to misunderstand that we accept your points or the numbers that you've pointed out, or the fact that, as I think you put it, we're ignoring the Evergreen report. The problem, Mr. Emmett, that we're having is, as you know, you've made it very clear to us, you're going to come to every single meeting we have. I think you've come now to 9 consecutive meetings. I took the bait in the beginning. We actually had an entire meeting where we had staff create a presentation to rebut about a dozen of the points that you had raised in a number of those pre-agenda meetings. And I'm taking at face value that you were unavailable that day, but you didn't come to that meeting when we spent all that staff time and effort to go through the facts and figures as they truly are. Our staff has sat down with you repeatedly over the last year and a half. You're someone well known to our staff, and every governmental body has a Chris Remmett who comes repeatedly and has an agenda, and we understand that. But we have sat down and we have worked with you over the last year and a half, and I think our frustration is, and why you now get, this is the first time actually we've responded to you, I think, in the last 8 meetings, why you get total silence at our pre-agenda meetings. It's because no matter how much we try to work with you to sit down and give you verifiable facts and figures and documentation to rebut so many of the misimpressions you have, you don't seem to want to accept clear, unequivocal data. So I want to say this, I'm going to turn it over to you, because I don't think it's fair to sit up here as an elected official and not give a person who's come before us a chance to have the last word. I want you to have the last word. But I want you to understand that we do agree with you that our school social worker and our psychologist levels are not where we'd like them to be. I could show you the data, if you'd like to look at it, for all 67 school districts in the state of Florida. We mirror the rest of the state of Florida because that funding comes down in a silo. It comes from Tallahassee, and that's a problem that's endemic to the state of Florida. It's not unique to OCPS. You'd find the same numbers in Seminole County Public Schools, Volusia, Hillsborough, Miami-Dade. I could go on and on and on. Frankly, you'd find the same numbers in probably, last time I looked at the data about 2 years ago, and I think roughly, if I do this off of memory, I think 35 to 38 of the states in the country are below recommended staffing levels when it comes to school psychologists and school social workers both. So we agree that that's a problem. But I guess that's all I can say. I don't know what to share with you other than I don't want anybody in this room, because I have a lot of respect for individuals in here, to think that we have ignored, as you put it, the Evergreen report. We've actually tackled and addressed virtually all of the recommendations in that report. You just don't want to seem to accept that we have addressed those recommendations. So take 60 seconds, or if you need 2 minutes to have the last word, and then we'll move on with tonight's meeting.
All right, you were wrong on a lot of things. I only attended the last 3 meetings. And before that, I attended in the spring when you said that we needed to have an update on the report. That report has not been given. The report that was provided during that meeting, which I wasn't at, but I couldn't speak to it anyway, and I listened to it. So nobody on the board asked any questions of the staff, and the report is not a clear point-by-point understanding of what you're doing. Today, I did not tell you anything other than what's in the report. That's all I do every week that I come, is provide the report and ask for an update, a true update. Last time I was here, staff reported that they had done actions in regards to consultation, and those actions were proven to be before this report was even done. So it seems rather disingenuous that you're saying I'm here 9 times. I've been 3. The report has not been updated. None of these questions are ever answered. You had 58 updates, and no actions have been taken on them. So that's my minute.
Thank you, Mr. Emmett. All right, we do have a proclamation on the agenda tonight recognizing our school psychologists, and many of them are here with us.
There's another speaker.
I know I'm getting to that.
Oh, okay.
She's on the proclamation. So many of our school psychologists are with us this evening, and want to thank them for coming down this evening. And we have a speaker on the proclamation, I believe, Dr. Leanne Bradshaw, our principal at Oak Ridge High School. Dr. Bradshaw, welcome.
Good evening, Chairman Sublette, school board members, and Dr. Jenkins, and school psychologist. I am honored to share just a few moments to talk about the highlights that our partnership and the impact that our school psychologists have on the academic, the social, and the emotional well-being of our students. And I'd like to just take a few moments and share from the field, from a high school principal, from a school principal, the perspective of the power of our school psychologist. I have the privilege of leading a large Title I high school, and it takes all hands on deck to be able to ensure that our students are successful and that we meet the needs of our students during the day and in the evening. It takes a team, it takes trust, it takes that commitment, but it takes everyone. And as a school principal, I am fortunate to have a very strong partner with our school psychologist. We work diligently to look at the individual needs of every child and to be able to look at actionable data and make a plan to teach and to serve each of our students. And the school psychologist at our school has been a very dependable member of our MTSS team. They meet and they look at all of the academically fragile students all the way to our most gifted and talented students, the spectrum in between, and they use data to be able to help us make plans to enrich their lives. She works alongside our team so that we have specific tiers, just like was shared with you earlier, and it meets both ends of the spectrum and all the way in between. And as you know, in high school, our end goal is college and career readiness, and our school psychologist is even a part of our expectation graduation team. And this team meets and they support and monitor our student attendance. They look at our students that are identified of being at risk of not having good school attendance or even dropping out, and we will not let a student go. So with that, I wanted to share that Dr. Lawson has even expressed that the psychologists that have been a part of the expectation graduation visiting team bring significant value to those home visits. And those are the students who at that time decided that school was not the place for them. And with the support of these psychologists on those home visits during that expectation graduation, we are able to retrieve students. We're able to give students hope. We are able to get many of them back on track and back in school. So we are very proud of that partnership. And now, even at high school, I am a big fan of home visits, and I cannot tell you how supported I feel when our school psychologist will join me and our SAFE coordinator going out and visiting homes and providing those services no matter what the level of crisis is. We have had a number of situations where we've had to respond immediately, and our school psychologist is always there, no matter what time and when it is. So we are very appreciative. And so in celebration of School Psychologist Week, and with much respect for them on this day, I, as a school principal, would like to salute our school psychologists who work tirelessly every day on behalf of our children, and thank you, especially from school principals.
Well, we don't normally do this, but I'm going to go ahead and read the resolution because we have such an appreciation for all that our school psychologists do. And as many of the board members up here can attest, I also have been the beneficiary, my wife and I, of the good work of our school psychologists. We have 3 children in public schools, and 2 of my children have received tremendous services from our school psychologists, so thank you for that. So let me go ahead and read the resolution, and then I'm going to ask all our psychologists to stand and let us give them a round of applause. Whereas all children and youth learn best when they are healthy, supported, and receive an education that helps to develop their individual strengths. And whereas schools can more effectively ensure that all students are able to learn and are invested in their learning when they meet the needs of the whole child. And whereas children's learning and behavior are directly linked to their mental health, the learning environment provides an optimal context to promote good mental health. And whereas sound psychological practices are integral to instruction and learning, societal and emotional development, prevention and early intervention, and supporting culturally diverse student populations. And whereas school psychology has over 60 years of well-established, widely recognized, and highly effective practice and standards that are clearly articulated in the National Association of School Psychologists Model for Comprehensive and Integrated School Psychological Services. And whereas school psychologists are specially trained to deliver a continuum of mental health services and academic supports that lower barriers to teaching and learning. And whereas school psychologists facilitate collaboration that helps parents and educators identify and reduce risk factors, promote protective factors, create safe schools, and access community resources. And whereas school psychologists are trained to assess student and school-based barriers to learning, utilize data-based decision-making, implement research-driven prevention and intervention strategies, evaluate outcomes, and improve accountability. And whereas the NASP establishes and maintains high standards for training, practice, and school psychologist credentialing in collaboration with organizations such as the American Psychological Association that promote effective and ethical services by school psychologists to children, families, and schools. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the School Board of Orange County that we do hereby recognize November 9th through November 13th, 2015 as National School Psychology Week. Can I have all of you stand and let us give you a round of applause for all the work you do? Thank you for coming down tonight. Dr. Jenkins.
Thank you, Chairman. I would be remiss if I didn't add my personal thanks to our wonderful dedicated school psychologist. While this is School Psychologist Week, I'm sorry I can't give you the week off, but you do have our undying gratitude for all that you do on behalf of our children. Thank you.
Thank you again for all you do. All right, we have, we don't usually take this long to get to it, but Dr. Jenkins, we have some newly appointed administrators here, and I usually do this at the end. We have some children of these newly appointed administrators here. Y'all have been awesome tonight, absolutely awesome. So I'd like this young man in the front, I'm going to do it at the beginning, and this young lady and her, looks like I can't see quite a brother or sister behind. Stand up. All of our children here who are here tonight have sat through all this and sat still and been so respectful. Stand up and let us give you a round of applause. Take a bow. I will tell you, as a father of 3 children, your parents should be extremely proud of you all because you have been total ladies and gentlemen through this entire not very interesting adult meeting. So thank you. Dr. Jenkins.
Thank you, Chairman. We have 3 administrators and then 1 recognition from my cabinet I'd like to recognize. First, we have Daniel Abalo, who is the new assistant principal at East River High School, formerly an instructional support teacher at East River.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, school board. Thank you, Dr. Jenkins, and your staff. I have a few people to recognize here real quick. I want to thank Principal Heather Hilton for her unwavering support and mentorship. So many others in this room that I do know that have paved the way for me. So thank you. I also have my family here. My wife, she corrected me earlier, 16 years serving Orange County Public Schools students as a teacher, and my 3 young boys. So I love you very much, and thank you for your support.
Derek Mappins was an instructional support teacher at Lake Nona. He will be the new assistant principal at Sunset Park Elementary.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the school board, Superintendent Jenkins, and her staff for this opportunity. I'm excited to serve the students of Orange County Public Schools and Sunset Park Elementary under the leadership of Principal Biddick, and I'm looking forward to working with Board Member Gould as in District 4. I've had a lot of people who supported me along the way. I can't mention all of them today, but I would like to mention Principal Jose Martinez for his support. He's here tonight. He supported me through this journey. I have my wife here, Krista Nappins, also an Orange County Public School employee. She supported me along the way, along with my son and daughter, Eve and Reese, who are not here tonight. But thank you once again.
Forrester Watts was a resource teacher at West Oaks Elementary. He will be the new assistant principal at West Oaks. I'm sorry, she. It says Forrester here. I'm so sorry.
Yes, that is my name, Forrester Watts. Thank you, Chairman Sublette, Dr. Jenkins, and to your staff. Thank you for this opportunity to lead at a larger capacity. I'm looking forward to it. I do want to thank my mentors, Mindy Smith, who gave me the first opportunity out of the classroom. I really appreciate her allowing me to shine as media specialist. Thank you to Dr. Pope from the Southwest Learning Community, gave me lots of leadership opportunities and good training, so thank you, I appreciate it. And to my current administrator, Lynn Thompson, who has taught me so much, I cannot even begin to name it all. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you to my West Oaks family, who a few of them came out, thought it not robbery. So thank you for coming. I appreciate that. That's my team. And so thank you to all of my friends, to my family, my husband, Alfred, for supporting me, for staying up late, for all those takeouts. Thank you to my son, my little one here, Alston, and then my other son who is not here tonight, Ashton, and my niece, whom I reared from a little one. So thank you for all of their love and support. Again, thanks to my cousins, all of those who came to support me tonight. I appreciate it, and thanks for the opportunity.
Congratulations, Mrs. Watts. Finally, I would like to recognize one of my cabinet members. He has been acting Senior Executive Director for Human Resources, and he will now be the Senior Executive Director for Human Resources. That is Ron Pilgrim.
Ms. Cadle.
Well, I know that Principal Hilton looked long and hard for the perfect fit for her assistant principal. And Danny, congratulations. It's going to be great seeing you out at East River permanently.
Ms. Gould.
And I would like to welcome Mr. Wagner, who comes from one burgeoning part of the community in Lake Nona to another burgeoning part of the community in West Orange, and is well prepared for the wonderful families and students at Sunset Park.
Mrs. Gordon.
Thank you. I would just like to welcome all of the new principals and assistant principals, and I wish you well.
Well, congratulations to all of our newly appointed administrators. This has been a long evening. Thank you for sitting through this. I always like to share in closing that this appointment really signifies one very simple word to this board, and that word is trust. By this appointment, it signifies that we trust your leadership, we trust your judgment, and most importantly, we trust you with our community's children and future. So your family and loved ones should be extremely, extremely proud of you. Now take those wonderful kids out and buy them some ice cream, because it's a school night. And with that, we'll pause and let you all get home and get back to your studies. Thank you. All right, board members, let me go ahead and dive into our agenda. It's very short tonight. Let me make a preliminary announcement. Any individual who would like to address an item on our consent or non-consent agenda may do so by filling out a yellow form such as this that you can obtain from Ms. McGill at the far left-hand side of the dais, and I will call you to speak when that item on the agenda comes up. You will have 3 minutes at that time to address the board. Board members, Dr. Jenkins, it's my understanding we don't have any changes to our agenda tonight, so we do not need a motion to adopt the agenda. Is that correct?
That is correct. I only needed to point out for the board members' recognition that 1404 and 1401 had non-substantive revisions that are already blacklined for you.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, board members, I do not have any speakers on the agenda. Can I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda? It's been moved by Mrs. Robinson, seconded by Vice Chair Gordon. Are there any comments or questions on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Show the consent agenda adopted. Thank you, Mrs. Gordon. Mrs. Gordon has a speaking engagement at one of her schools. Thank you. All right. You know, I was remiss in not saying this earlier. Dr. Jenkins, I just want you to know, not that this is the most important thing, but Mr. Pilgrim, yours was a very popular appointment with this board. We think the world of you. So congratulations on your appointment as the permanent Director of Human Resources. I can think of nobody better for that position. So congrats. Yes, Mrs. Robinson.
And Mr. Pilgrim, I wanted to let you know I met your wife last week when I went out to give her one of the teacher grants that we've been handing out for OCPS Foundation. She won the largest grant that I was able to hand out for $4,920 for STEM classwork for her students, for things in the classroom. And I understand, too, that the STEM teacher from Domerick today that got honored is her sister. Is that correct? Megan? That's so amazing. I love it when you see family members all working, you know, in the same field and in the same, it's just wonderful. So your wife's really, really, and she was a hot item on my Facebook. I think she had over 5,000 viewers and millions of likes. Everybody loves your wife. So congratulations to you. It's nice to meet her.
Ms. Cadle, is that old or new? Okay, I'm sorry. And Ms. Gould, yours was as well. Okay. Ms. Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We just approved another magnet, and this one is for Liberty Middle School. It's the Cambridge Middle School Magnet Program. So Principal James Russo is out in the audience, along with a few others out there. And of course, last meeting, we approved the Colonial Magnet for Cambridge, and the Principal Jose Martinez is out there as well. So great collaboration, great feeder pattern, very, very popular with the parents and students who are enrolled now. I know it's going to be a very, very popular magnet for, you know, now within the actual zones, but without. So thank you, board, and thank you out there for really using these last two. It's been 2 years, correct? 2 years of having it as an academy and really working it so that it was given magnet status. They worked hard. They worked hard with it.
That's worth applause. Congratulations, Principal Russo, to you and your entire team. Thank you for all your hard work. We look forward to great things out of that Cambridge program. Thank you. All right, board members, let me go now to reports by attorneys or attorney, Mr. Palmerini. You sure this is your moment in the sun? You're the attorney tonight. No? Okay.
No report, Mr. Chairman.
You learned at the foot of the master. And report by our superintendent, Dr. Jenkins.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a couple of items. One, I did copy to you as the FED's president this year. We were happy to craft, along with the other board members, communication to the State Board of Education regarding cut scores and school grades. That has been released to the media. I also sent you copies of it as well. Wanted you to certainly be aware of that. Secondly, congratulations again to our chairman for his Junior Achievement Spirit of Achievement Award. Since I was absent, I wanted to say again publicly how very proud we are and how deserving he is of that recognition. And then another board member was actually awarded as the Haitian American Art Network I Am of Purpose Award recipient at the 4th Annual Women's Conference, Women Celebrating Women, and that is Board Member Pam Gould. Congratulations to her as well.
All right, thank you, Dr. Jenkins. And congratulations, Ms. Gould. That's awesome. Thank you. All right, I do not believe we have any committee reports tonight. So we're now on agenda item 20, statement of policy level issues the board would like us to agenda for a future meeting or work session. Anything? No? Okay. I'm handing out the latest work session schedule. Let me just remind you that we have this Thursday, the K rezoning. Dr. Jenkins, I failed to give you a heads up I was going to ask this, but do you know what are we covering at that meeting? Do we have more ground to cover or? Okay, but are there any, do we need to go forward with that work session? Are there any changes or there are, Ms. Cadle? Okay, so we're going to hear some new options. Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay. All right, that's right. We have option 3 coming back. Thank you, Ms. Cadle. Okay. Okay, and do we have anything coming back on, or is that going to be later on, the Cheney parents? Later? Okay. Well, that was option 3. Yeah. And I'll find out Thursday if you don't know. I just was curious because I got asked that today.
Well, number 1 was Miss Robinson asking. Number 2 on option 3 was Miss Kober. And number 3 on option 3 was me saying, okay, well, if we're going to look at all of this, leave those children in Audubon.
It is, that's all part of option 3.
Yep,
Okay.
so it's all wrapped into one option.
Correct.
Okay, terrific.
And it's on our website.
Okay.
There is a map with it.
Okay. I'll go look at the website.
But I also think there's one other one that's coming on that, because it has Winter Park High School in it. So there's, oh, okay. But it said it also affected university. So there's another one out there.
I will send an email to board
Thanks.
members tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad I asked because I wasn't quite sure what we were covering on Thursday, so thank you for reminding me. All right. Board members, we have that coming up on Thursday. I will say also, if you'll look at December 10th, this is, I think, very, very important. We are addressing the topic of proactive community engagement. And in my 5 years on the board, I've heard many a time at various points, always in a constructive way, you all have ideas about how we can better engage the community. So staff is starting to prepare for that work session, even though it's a month away. And I've told them on this one, it's very, very important, and they always do this, but it's especially important on this work session to circle around and talk to each board member so we make sure your ideas are on the table when we come to December 10th, and so they have some idea of what ideas are percolating. I've also asked them to look at how other large urban districts in the country address community engagement and to come prepared to sort of share with us practices that they've seen in other parts of the country. And so I really just want to get everybody, because I want to make sure we take advantage of this work session, put on your thinking caps and come to the table ready to really throw out your ideas on proactive community engagement. The last thing I'll say to it is, this is sort of a somewhat glass half empty way of viewing it, but after I've talked to staff about it, I've said, at the end of the day, I'd love for us to get to a point, and it's always a work in progress, and I know this, but for me, and this is just my perspective, where it's not a valid criticism for somebody to say, well, you didn't ask to hear from us until the decision was always made. That's sort of a not very articulate way of putting it, but that's where we're trying to get to in my mind, so the community feels like they were listened to before decisions were made, which we try very, very hard to do, but I think we can always do better as can every governmental entity. So give us your ideas on that. And then after that, we have the Marzano training coming up on the 15th. That's something that this board had really wanted to do 4 or 5 months ago. It's in the midst of the holiday season. Okay, so if I don't want to be the only one sitting in there in the Marzano training, so if you've lost your appetite for that, I'm not trying to talk you out of it because I'd like to learn more about the Marzano evaluation method and methodology and how we implement it. But at the same time, I know how sort of the collective psychology of all groups works, and it was a big issue 6 months ago. If it's not as big an issue today, you're not hurting my feelings at all if you tell Ms. McGill you know what, I really don't need to do that now. But if you still want to do it, I would welcome it because I think it would be good for all of us. And then we have repurposing facilities, school start times coming back up in mid-January, and then you can see the rest of the agenda there. So if we haven't captured things you want to do work sessions on, please let Ms. McGill know, and we'll make sure that we do that. Anything else? All right. With that, sorry we didn't make the record or even come close, but we are adjourned.
A baby is born. Cute. He's already surrounded by technology. By age 4, she knows how to use a smartphone. He's reading. No, not from this. This. She's making a digital presentation. You don't even know what that is. He has an interest. No, not that. That. By middle school, she has built her own website and her first app. In high school,
with my Michelson interferometer, I can measure down to the fraction of the wavelength of light.
Wow. The world is changing. And they are preparing for jobs that don't even exist yet.